Hello guys, this is Good Like, and this is my new WoW series. Allow me to explain. First, I borrowed some footage from some people to illustrate my point. Don't tell them guys, okay? This is just between me and you. I just borrowed it, I didn't ask. They don't need to know. They don't need to know, it's fine. These are people who I've been watching play World of Warcraft recently. I don't know, for the last half a year or so, roughly speaking. And I noticed a pattern. Whenever there's a content creator, and they're kind of new to the game, and they start playing Horde, their series mysteriously comes to an end, or grinds to a slow halt. If it's Alliance, there's no problems. There's a guy, he's on hardcore servers, he's playing with PvP on the entire time like a mad lad, and he's like level 50. Horde, let's be honest, the cutoff is around 30. Something always happens. And then I racked my memory and I realized I've experienced the same exact thing. Whenever I played Horde before, which was not very often, even counting the original run of World of Warcraft, I've never really gotten past the level 20s, 30s. I don't know why. The last time I played Horde was in Classic, because I made, like, I think a shaman, and I got to level 15, and then I couldn't make a group for Ragefire Chasm. Every group I tried to join, they wouldn't respond. It was very strange. I mean, I didn't try that hard, to be perfectly honest, but it doesn't matter. The point is simple. Nobody in the entire world can make a series where the Horde character makes it to high levels. And that's very frustrating for someone who's always played Alliance, and I want to find out what the Horde is all about. It's like there's some sort of unnatural curse preventing me from either discovering these series, or, in the case where I do find them, from those series to coming to full fruition. They don't even know it themselves. I bet they think that there's something normal impeding their progress, like they're too busy with their life or something. No, I'm telling you, it's a curse. You've been cursed. And there's only one way that I can lift a curse like that. I have to play the game myself. So I signed up for the anniversary servers and made the Horde character that best represents me, a balding, shirtless troll warrior. Perfect. Let's go. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. I will be using some add-ons. One of the add-ons is going to be questy. I played a little bit with objectives on, because these areas I'm kinda familiar. As I mentioned, I've seen people do them and I've done them myself, but ultimately I decided to turn them off eventually. Somewhere around level 7. So really early on, and I never turned them on again, and I am not going to look up any hints on how to do the quests. I'm just gonna know where they are, pick them up, read the quest, and try to figure out what's going on. And hopefully that will work. Of course, my knowledge of the neutral faction quests is going to be very helpful. But for anything that's Horde specific, well, anything can happen. Now, the main reason I want to use questy is because in Classic, exclamation marks that appear above characters' heads have a tendency to actually disappear very early on, even when the quests are still green, so they're pretty good for experience. I experienced this in my original first playthrough of WoW Classic in 2019. I don't exactly want to run around every single a possible location, checking, hey, is there a quest there? So I'll allow myself that much of a hint. A goal of the series is to obviously reach level 60 and complete all non-raid quests that are unique to Horde, or at least give our best shot. Now, the reason I don't do raid quests is because I don't intend to do any raiding. I don't use Discord. This is a fun fact about me. And you have to understand, if you don't use Discord, that's the equivalent of like being a monk in the woods or like in a mountaintop somewhere. The digital equivalent of that. The chances that someone would let me join a raid under those circumstances, very slim. The chances that they would do that and then they would learn that I have zero raiding experience because of this immense debuff, even slimmer. The chances that I would get kicked the moment that I would fuck up the strategy, because I obviously would, because I have no idea what I would be doing in a level appropriate raid, 100%. So we have zero aim to do anything with a lockout in the series. Oh, would you look at that? A fine troll lady. I believe a hunter. Why she's helping me out? I'll help her out a little bit too. Now the NPC ahead of us, I need it for a quest. She probably needs it for a quest. Maybe it's time to group up, if you catch my drift. Care for a group, madam? Politely wait for a few seconds and then invite. That's right. Perfect. Let's do this. Ah, the MMO experience. Medallion dinner. Ah, she's German. Never mind. It was never meant to be. Time to leave. I don't speak German. It's not possible. Yeah, that's one of the problems with the anniversary servers. There's only like 2 or something. So all the different languages are crammed into one, and they all spam LFG in foreign languages. It's so fucking annoying, man. Needless to say, my global ignore list add-on filters a lot of lines. A lot of lines. In Senjin Village, we learn our first skill, herbalism. It's a pretty standard choice for people trying to make a good buck through their leveling experience. The reason that is because herbs are almost always in demand throughout the entire game, because you can use merbs to make potions and elixirs and flasks. And those are always in demand as people go to raids. They want to have all the buffs at all times. So it's a no-brainer. It's one of the professions. The other obvious profession would be mining, but that one's a little less popular. Yeah, you can level like engineering and blacksmithing with it, but those, like, blacksmithing isn't that popular, I don't think. And engineering doesn't require that many materials for the for the explosives. You need like some dense stone for the dynamite, and that's about it. That's not a very profitable venture. I'm sure it can work out, but I wager herbalism is way more consistent. And it's really good early game. Tell you more about that later. So typically when I play a character on a new, fresh server, I become the Scrooge McDuck. I try to save up as much money as possible. And that really makes sense. It does actually make sense to try to do that. Because in Classic, you have a few very important milestones to reach as you level, that if you don't reach, you're gonna have a bit of a bad time. For example, the mount at level 40, which costs almost 100 gold. And that's a lot of gold at level 40. You really have to try to get that much gold. The way I want to do this is that I'll try to complete as many quests as possible while they're still relevant. So not great. Which means after we're done here in the Durotar starting area, I depart on a journey to make my way to the Undead. Why the Undead? There's actually logic to this. So the Tauren area is the one that's the most sort of isolated from the rest, I would say. Because Durotar directly connects to the Barrens. And yes, sure, the Tauren area also directly connects to the Barrens, but it's the southern Barrens, which is way higher level than the northern one, which is where you typically go if you're done with the original area. And then the Undead area has Silverpine Forest, which is also directly connected and continues level-wise in the appropriate direction. So the plan is I do these starting areas, then I'm going to complete the entirety of the Tauren area, and then I'm going to come back to finish off these areas and then move out into the follow-up zones. That's my strategy, if you'd like. Man, I love warriors. They have the ultimate and completely unparalleled ability, which is charge. Honestly, I love this ability so much I could probably just keep leveling a warrior from scratch over and over again, just because it's fun to run up to somebody and start beating them up. I briefly considered going hardcore, but because I kind of want to experience all the quests, I decided to go with normal. Yeah, in hardcore you kind of need to know what you're doing, and I don't, because I've never played Horde beyond a certain point, and I expect to die. I also don't want to skip any quests because they're too dangerous. I want to just get in there and do things, or at least as much as possible at any given time. Also, from what I've seen, the hardcore servers aren't that super popular. There's players, but there's not normal server players, especially with the TBC coming up. At the point that this video is released, the TBC is actually out, but when I recorded this, it was still a ways away. I think people came back because they wanted to level characters before TBC. Having completed the quests in the Undead area, now I have to make my way all the way to Mulgore. I make a quick stop at Razor Hill to set my Artstone for a quick return trip once we're done, and I set out. I had two options, and I chose an option. That is for sure. Instead of taking the path like a normal person would, I decided it would be a good idea to swim around. You can't exactly swim to Mulgore, but you can swim to Ratchet. And I thought I'm gonna, hit up Ratchet. It's on the way. So all I have to do is go to the southernmost part of Durotar and go along the edge and then swim. And we'll be right where we need to be. But the game had other ideas. It literally put an elite shark in here for no reason. I thought it was over for me, but I tried my best to make it. And I made it. Go away. Please go away. Please stop staring. Yeah, it's now swimming in the direction of where I want to go. This is the worst. Why is it even here? I mean, I know exactly why it's here. It's to catch people who think they can swim to Ratchet and kill them. Looks like after a little bit it turns around and swims the other way. So we can now easily make past it. Woohoo! Right, so if you want a reason for why I'm not playing hardcore, there you go. I already almost died and I'm level 7. I don't want to bash hardcore. I think hardcore is its own special kind of fun. All I'm saying is if you think softcore is boring, well, maybe I'll manage to surprise you one way or another as we go along. In any case, now the road is clear. We go past Ratchet, we go past Crossroads, we go south along the road to Camp Toraja. That sounds like a continent, not a town. I don't know why they would name it that way. And from there, it's a pretty straightforward path west and then a little bit south to Red Cloud Mesa, the starting area of the Torn. Something to note about starting areas. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe that some of them have faction-specific quests. Like in the Undead area, I think there's a quest that starts in the crypt that if you're not undead, you can't take it. And that makes sense, because that quest is supposed to be, hey, you've woken up as a Forsaken. And that wouldn't make that much sense as other races. Although I say this, but I am well aware of some quests that equally don't make as much sense, at least in the dialogue that they provide. Let me think. Something like the Dwarven starting zone, Coldridge Valley. I'm pretty sure there's some quest that says, hey, you managed to escape or something, and it just makes no sense. But hey, I can't complain. I think there's something like that in the Torn area, maybe not here at the Red Mesa, but I think some quests in Mulgore in general are only Torn specific. Maybe even give like Torn specific rewards. I played a Torn at some point and I remember noticing that discrepancy, but maybe I'm just misremembering things. It has been many years after all. One cool thing about these starting areas is that they are really good at introducing your enemy, something like that. For example, in the Lion side, you have the Defias gang right off the bat, or Trogs and Dark Irons. And here on Horde side, instead, we have, I guess, the Cult, summoning demons and all that, from Durotar. In the Undead area, you have the Undead, and just human beings, I guess. Not really picky about their enemies, are they? And in the Torn area, we mostly tackle Quillboars. And I guess later on, we're gonna go up against the Venture Co. I think the areas do a very good job of introducing these enemies, as obviously you keep encountering them as you keep going through the world, which makes it feel like a world. Not just fighting some random bullshit that just spawned here because, I don't know, Deathwing flew by or something. Another thing I wanted to do with this playthrough was make my own weak chorus. This is a terrible idea, probably, unless you're really interested, which I might be. I used to use this add-on called Tell Me When, a long time ago, which is kind of like a much simpler and lightweight version, I guess, of weak chorus from way back when. So it's not like I'm entirely unfamiliar with the concept, but I thought it would be fun to just experiment with some add-ons. I read somewhere that weak auras is getting removed from the retail World of Warcraft. And I've also read that World of Warcraft is trying to homogenize its add-ons systems. So meaning the way that they're plugging code, Lua, I believe, works, and the events that they send and are listened to by the add-ons in order to provide their functionality. I didn't go very deeply, but I did see that the authors were like resigned to their deaths, essentially, for all intents and purposes, in World of Warcraft, of course. Now, if you combine those two facts, there's a distinct possibility that weak hours, or anything like weak hours, might disappear. I doubt it. That would be very not classic of them, even though technically the original classic didn't have anything like weak auras, but it's besides the point, okay? But nonetheless, there's a chance that this is the last time that anyone could use weak auras. And so, I decided to take that chance. I first started by asking Grok to generate me the weak auras. That was not a good plan. It generated something, like an encoded string, which is supposed to represent the weak aura configuration in JSON format that's encoded, and it did not in fact generate that. This should come to no surprise, of course, but I did wanted to test it on the off chance that it would somehow work through some miracle. It didn't, but I did find it funny that Rock was 200% confident in it working, and it didn't work. Some of the most fun with the AI is just them being like that. It's like, yeah, I got this, here you go, and it's complete and utter nonsense. Never gets old to me. It never gets old to me. Anyway, the things that I'm gonna put on the weak auras is like mostly things with cooldowns or durations, like the battle shout, the troll racial ability that allows you to attack a bit faster, the potions and bandages. All of the weak auras that I made are clickable, so if you click them, it will do the thing. Like it will cast the battle shout, or it will drink the potion. I don't think I did it very well, because sometimes it bugs out, but it's close enough. And it automatically detects the best potion / bandage to show and to use. At least I think it does. I'm pretty sure it does. I've tested some of this out when I had the opportunity. It seemed to work. I'll keep adding some more things here whenever I come up with something. Oh yeah, during this time, the Scourge was attacking the world and the cities. I think this is supposed to be the next Rammus release event, but don't quote me on that. For our levels, all that happens is that there's some necropoli in the sky, and they're spawning some level appropriate undead just by the entrances to towns. Usually avoidable. And there's a quest by a dude that asks you to go kill some of them. Since we're here and since the quests are there, why not? We'll do those too. While the goal of the series is to complete all the Horde quests, it's not like I'm going to shy away from completing all the shared or unusual quests either. I like questing. It's way better than some degenerate strategies like running dungeons over and over. Ugh. Miss me with that. Oh yeah, I also added this heroic strike icon that appears only when I target an enemy that is alive, and then lights up if I have excess rage. So I don't have to look at my rage, I can just look at the icon or something. The neat thing is, it will not light up if the enemy is low on HP, which will allow me to preserve my rage. You're not supposed to kind of spend all your rage finishing the enemy off, because then you don't have the rage for the next guy. And then that sucks, because you can't get your skills like rend out immediately. Add a miss, a dodge or parry or two at the start of the fight, and you're having a bad time. So this little indicator is going to help me be a bit more efficient and smooth through the leveling journey. Anyway, I think it's time that I finally reveal the reason why this series is called Blingbound. I've really strung you up here for a while, haven't I? A typical series adds bound to its title if it's something like a challenge. There's some kind of restriction that you have to comply with. Well, there's something like that here. But it's a little complicated. And it's a little bit awkward to call it a challenge. It's definitely going to take some effort. But it's also not going to be particularly difficult, I don't think. So let's start with a practical example. Here's me fighting off the undead from the event. And, I'm managing. But it's definitely much harder than whatever fights I had, let's say, up in the Cloud Mesa, for which I was over-leveled. Particularly, these enemies are also immune to bleeding, which is one of the sources of damage that I have. And so, fighting two back-to-back has me sweating. So what's going on? Are warriors just really that bad? The answer is, of course, my equipment. Here's a nice birchwood maul of strength. I'm going to purchase it.
What brings you?
I'll use the remaining 10 silver that I possess to train two-handed maces. And go start beating up random wildlife. Until I'm level 10. So I can equip them all. Things really take a turn for the worst, as my weapon breaks when I'm less than 1 bar away from leveling. So now I have to go punch things, and I'm not even trained up for that. That really sucks. I should have used my fishing pole. I bet it would have done more damage than my fist. Didn't think of that. Anyway, I trained up my unarmed skill. And after enough beating up of random things, I ding level 10. As I am trying to ignore yet another foreigner from the LFG chat. Don't mind me. So now we've got the two-handed mace. Is it gonna go any better? No, we still have to level up the weapon skill, of course. And I'm not being sarcastic. I enjoy this. This is good. Alright, we've got the weapon skill. We've got everything. Let's see how a battle goes now. Literally 3-shot. Now we're slightly higher level than these guys, but still, we're basically mowing them down. This area, from what I've seen, is supposed to be quite a difficult area. Some of the dwarves actually possess a healing ability. Pulling 2 mobs, one of them a healer, doesn't matter. You may be able to purchase shield bash or kick as a rogue, but why do that when you can just chunk them to death? If you get a crit, it's just a bloody massacre. The mob didn't even get a chance. In fact, we're killing these mobs so fast, we're triggering hyper spawns on ourselves or something. The key takeaway here, you're not likely to get level appropriate items through normal means. You need to buy some really good gear from the auction house. Of course, everyone is aware of this, so equipment also tends to be pretty expensive. The typical buyer would be someone leveling a character after they already finished leveling their main, but you see, that's the thing. I don't have a main. This is my first fresh character. So therein lies the meaning of the series name. Every few levels, I'm gonna go to the auction house and I'm going to buy powerful leveling warrior equipment to bling out my character. But I can only achieve this if I manage to put together the money. No money, no bling. And we need the bling. That's why it's Blingbound. By the way, have you heard of this legend of Ghost Howl? Nah, I'm not talking about this guy in Horde who just talks smack about fighting some wolf sometime. No. That's boring stuff. I'm talking about this Wowhead comment. Made all the way in 2006, November 24, it reads, asking Scorn Whitecloud in Bloodhoof Village to tell you a story spawns Ghost Howl in one of 4 locations. Run through those locations spamming target ghost macro till you come across him. I found this comment when I was looking this stuff up way before the series because someone I was watching just couldn't find Ghost Howl. I was wondering if it's really such a rare beast. I mean, you have to admit, something like this attracts attention. It sounds very unusual. I don't think I've heard of anything working quite like this when questing in Alliance. Sure, Alliance has its own fair share of crazy quests, like the assassins that spawn for some reason nobody knows in the South Shore. Plus, even if it worked way back then, doesn't mean it works in Classic and beyond. But look at all these people saying that it still works in Classic from all the way back in 2022 to 2025. There's gotta be something to this. I relayed this information to the person playing, but unfortunately they didn't get a chance to try it out. I have to admit, that left me a little curious and I wanted to try it out myself. So I set up the macro, approach Korn, and then go to the quest locations, as marked by Questy. And what do I see there? Nothing. Just a bunch of wild beasts frolicking around in the wilderness. But hey, this is just the first area. If we really want to be sure, we have to circle all the way around. The second area is a little harpy infested, so it's a little bit harder to navigate. But I'm sure we'll manage. Wait a minute, what's that? Dun dun dun! It's Ghost Hall's corpse. Coincidence? I think not. I think we're onto something here. I'm gonna have to try this again. Maybe the next day. Speaking of harpies, they can drop light feather. Light feather, if you don't know, is a relatively expensive item. It costs almost nothing to the vendor, but because it's used as a material to cast certain spells, and there's no other way to get it than to kill a bunch of birds or something, it can fetch a price on the auction house. Not so much in this auction house, but it's still over a silver, and every silver counts, trust me, especially in low level. Now early on, whether I like it or not, I don't have any money. So the challenge is really gonna start to kick off at around level 20. That's also when most blue items start to appear. But I'll try to buy an upgrade here or there whenever I have some money available, even early on. It's completely different than I'm used to playing. So every single thing that I buy that I normally wouldn't, I'm gonna put in the Bling-o-meter. That's that thing that counts the money spent. Yeah, to elaborate a little bit more on the Bling-o-meter, I'm only gonna put things in the Bling-o-meter if I wouldn't normally have purchased the thing during the leveling process. Eventually we'll buy a mount, but everyone buys a mount So it's not really bling. It really doesn't belong to the Bling-o-meter. It has to be either special or really unusual for me to spend that money on that kind of thing. And boy, we will find ways to spend the money. A new dawn shines upon the land. A new scorn tells me the same goddamn story. And off we go into the plains of Mulgore. We find beasts, kodos, wolves, and the ghost howl. You can't tell me this is not real. What are the odds of me doing this process twice and then encountering the ghost howl? There's no way. You might say, okay, hold on. But you encounter all kinds of rare mobs. This doesn't prove anything. Well, hold on. You're not considering the fact that this isn't just any rare mob. It's a rare mob that drops a quest. That's a magnet for attention. Everyone who has Questy, which means literally everyone, is going to know about the existence of Ghost Howl and will try to pursue it. If some other rare mob spawns, well, you know, maybe there's some enthusiasts who are particularly fond of the colors might pursue this rare, but not everyone. Not everyone's going to do that. Whereas Ghost Howl, that's kill on sight kind of a target. You can't convince me this isn't real. If I ever level another Horde character, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be the ritual. We're gonna go talk to the Scorn, and then we're gonna go kill Ghost Howl. I believe. With Ghost Howl defeated, we're starting to wrap up the zone. But there's one more area that gave me more trouble than I expected. That's right, it's the Venture Co. mine. Jam-packed with goblins. Goblins and ogres. Mining. You gotta watch your step in more ways than one. Now, one of the quests here is to kill a bunch of the supervisors and workers. But that one's kind of easy. You probably can do it without even going to the mines. I found a bunch of them even outside, for example, north of Thunderbluff. But the big supervisor has got to be somewhere in the mine. That's what my informant tells me anyways. It always seemed like such a simple, innocent quest when I saw other people doing it. Yet I plowed through this mine in all possible ways and directions while looking for him. This mine reminds me of like the Netherwing mines from TBC. I think they share at least partially the layout. And that's one hell of a sprawling mine, I tell ya. Yeah, I saw another exit and I thought, what the hell, maybe we'll go outside and that's where he'll be, but no. He's not outside. There's things outside, there's more Venture Co. outside, there's an engineering trainer outside, but there's no supervisor. God, I love warriors. I really checked every single level of this damn mine. My inventory was full 5 times over. I had to sort all my items in the inventory by their price, so that I would have an easier time deleting the most useless ones right from the top. And guess where he was? Of course, it's in the last place I would check. He was right by the entrance. You just had to turn right. You just had to turn right. This is why I turned off the map objectives. Because if I hadn't, I would have just known, and I would have gone there, and that would have been boring. It's quite something, you know. You never know if you missed him, or someone killed him, and you just missed the corpse despawning. You never know. You never know. And that sort of thing keeps things exciting. I like it. After that, we go on a bit of a victory tour through the area, handing in all kinds of quests, leveling all kinds of skills, getting rewards, wrapping things up as it were, picking up quests for areas in the future. But there's one more quest, and that's the quest to take down Echikachaya or something. I saw it as I was wandering around doing other things before, but I didn't exactly remember where. I just knew it was a Kodo-like creature. And I thought, okay, well, let's just go around the bluff and look for things that look like Kodos, I guess. It's gotta be somewhere with the Kodos, right? First, I go west through the plains, and I encounter Mazaranoches, also known as Jeff's cousin. I take him down, keep moving forward, and I find Ghost Howl again. Oh my god. Someone must have talked to Scorn. Definitely, 100%. And then finally, some Kodos show up. So I decide to follow these Kodos. Alas, these guys decided to troll me. Look at this. They literally come here and then they turn around. It's like, nah, we're done going this way. We're going the other way now. Anyway, I decided to go look around where other Kodos could possibly exist. I wandered the plains for many days, many hours. I encountered the Rake again and take him out. I fight many beasts along the way, along the path, and reach the esteemed level 13. And there he is. Arichea. We found him. Oh my god. It's been almost 20 minutes since we picked up this quest. And as a reward, we get some leather pants. Hell yeah. Anyway, that's the last of Mulgore quests, at least for now. So I make my way back to good old Durotar. Pick up all the quests. And then I notice that my quest log is getting dangerously full. As a result, I decide to make my way. There is a crossroads. The proper way this time, instead of swimming randomly in the water as I'll take the road. Cross the bridge, hand in some of the quests at the outpost here. At least one of them sends me back to Durotar. Excellent. And we wrap up the day. In the next episode, we'll be tackling Durotar quests and thinking of ways to make some money. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.